My name is ASIJA Vanesa, and I was raised in a West Indian home, and I was brought up a Catholic. So I did like my confirmation and my baptism and all this stuff, and went to church and Christmas and all the rest of it. I guess I was a little confused because I still went to Catholic school. I went on the retreats and we went to church and all the rest of it, and they would tell you that he died for your sins, etc., and that he's God and the Holy Spirit all in one. So I guess I was a little bit confused when I thought about it, which is probably why I decided not to not to think about it, because I didn't really take it seriously. I wasn't brought up in a family that actually took religion seriously, to be honest. It was church on the Sundays and every other kind of sin from Monday to Saturday. My impression of Islam before I converted was that it was really strict and there seemed to be quite a lot of rules. I kind of thought that it was a controlling religion, but then at the same time I was a bit scared to approach it just in case it was the truth, so I kind of left it, you know, on purpose. I purposely didn't follow it up because I was a bit worried that I'd have to be controlled. The reason I started researching Christianity was because I was with somebody who was Christian. I was with him for like 7 years, and I remember I was watching this program, and it's like God TV, you know, that God TV stuff. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to watch this. I'm going to sit here and watch this. And the woman started talking, okay, and she was like, she was saying some really good stuff, but she kept stopping and sort of going, ooh, like that. And then, so I looked her up and everything, and she thought that she was a prophet. And I realised that she actually thought that God was talking to her while she was walking up and down the stage. And so I started researching her, and I can't even tell you. It was like fraud, all this all this rubbish, and I knew she was lying. She didn't seem like a truthful person, so that kind of put me off a little bit. But I went to my boyfriend's church at the time, my then boyfriend's church, and all the ladies were gossiping about each other. Half the people there weren't even listening to the priest. They just get dressed up and go, and so it just reminded me of what I saw when I was a Catholic, and I didn't like it. The thing that attracted me to Islam was the fact that I could have a personal relationship with God. The day that I converted, I had had a few weeks of listening to lectures on TV, like on Islamic TV, and I sat through the break when there was the adhan that came on, and I'd heard it before, but I didn't know what it meant, so I decided to sit and actually read the translation. When I read it, it was like, Subhanallah, it was like a command from Allah, because I'd already been reading the Quran, and it was almost as if I had already been conversing with him. So when I saw what it actually meant, what the adhan translated to, it was a command. It was like I had to do it. I didn't really have a choice. So I didn't sit there thinking, okay, I must become Muslim now. It was more, I have to pray now, and then everything followed from there. So subhanallah, you know, after hearing the adhan, I did like a quick prayer. I didn't really know how to pray exactly, but I'd seen Muslims pray before, so I just I washed my hands, I think, and my face, and then I did a little prayer, you know. And the next day I decided to go to Southall, to the closest mosque that I could find, to convert. We're in the middle of Southall, and it's really, really busy at the moment. which is what it was like when I came to take my Shahada. The mosque behind me, which is currently under construction, is really, really significant because this is where I actually came to take my Shahada. You know, it was really busy. I parked halfway down the road, had to walk all the way back up. Was really nervous walking all the way up the road, couldn't find the entrance, so walked through the men's entrance, which is a common mistake. But yeah, I took my Shahada here. I reverted on the 21st of November 2009, and shortly after I took my Shahada, I can't explain how I felt. It was, I've not felt like that since, but it was almost as if, like, everything seemed like an illusion, if that makes sense. And I could literally feel, because Allah says that, you know, you have angels with you and you have angels watching you, and I could literally feel them watching me. It's as if the world sort of got a bit smaller, and I was on a stage. That's how it felt, like I was on a stage or something, and everybody else around me were actors. But I was on such a high. You just feel so relieved and so free and so conscious of God that even when you interact with people, it's like you're not interacting with them, you're interacting with God. It's as if He sent that person to you to talk to you. So I don't know, that's how it felt for a while. And I just wanted to pray all the time. So, and I'd spend my break times praying, basically. So I just felt really close to God. The most interesting thing that I first found was that God, or that Allah, took the time to communicate directly with us. So when I read the Quran, it was like He was talking to me, if that makes sense. That's how I read the Quran before I became Muslim, actually. But I feel like the whole time that I was reading the Quran, it felt like I was communicating with Him. So the fact that He took the time to communicate with us, I think, was the most interesting thing. And it kind of made me laugh, it made me cry. And I think when I got right to the end, I was like, you know, what have we done to make Him have to swear by the moon and the stars? Like, how could we be in such a state that he has to swear by something? Like, we should have believed Him, you know, we should have already been doing what He wanted us to do. So I think the most interesting thing is that God is so merciful that despite the fact that we've transgressed so far, He still comes to us, He still moves towards us, even though in the grand scheme of things we wouldn't exist without Him. I think it's important to read the Quran regularly because it's a connection with Allah. I just want to say it's really hard to keep it up, to be consistent with reading the Quran. Scholars have said that you should read it every day, and I certainly find peace when I read it. I think it is a conversation. It's like you want questions and you have questions, and it's like God knows the questions that you have. And in the Quran, He's revealed the answers. It's hard to say which verses are my favourite, but I guess the ones that I like the most in the Quran, or I guess are my favourite in the Quran, would be Surah An-Naml, where Allah negates the fact that He has partners, and He talks about how He sends the rain and how He's created a barrier between the seas. But he talks about all the things that he's done, and the way that he negates it is he says, you know, you still ascribe partners to me and you don't even remember, as if we have a memory that we've forgotten. Does that make sense? So I find it interesting. And the other one that I love is فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, which is with every hardship comes ease. But I was in a circle the other day, and they were saying that it doesn't actually mean after the hardship comes ease, but rather there's ease during the hardship. So apparently the word means that there's ease whilst you're in that hardship. The Islamic practices that I enjoy, actually I found quite a lot of, since I've become Muslim, I find quite a lot of them difficult. Initially I used to love praying tahajjud because it was just that quiet time where you could wake up and there was no one around and it was just you and Allah. But these I guess these practices that I initially loved, I find them difficult now because now you have to live as a Muslim. So now the thing that I like is dhikr, is remembrance of Allah. So you could do this anytime, any place, and it's literally, you know, just asking for forgiveness or praising him, or sending blessings upon the Prophet, peace be upon him. So I enjoy dhikr Allah. That's quite nice. I like that. What inspired me about the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family and his companions, was how much he cares about us as a nation, whether we're Muslims or not, actually, because we're all in his ummah, we're all in his nation, whether we believe in him or not. And I heard of a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and he would cry at night. Sorry, and Aisha would ask him, you know, why are you crying? And he would say, my ummah, like, you know. And for me, it was like he would spend his nights praying and crying about us. He reserved his, you know, I was told that each prophet was given a prayer, but I was told that he reserved his for us on the Day of Judgment. And I don't know, that kind of inspired me, because it made me feel like even though he's not here, he still has a connection with us. I mean, you know, it hurts that as a nation we've come so far that people are, you know, have resorted to bad-mouthing him and calling him all these things. And it's not their fault, I don't feel. I feel like it's our fault, because we have such bad adab and such bad manners that they think bad of him, and we haven't really done, sorry, I'm going to start crying. We haven't really done justice to his message. My mum, she helped me after I became Muslim. She was very happy that I became Muslim. And as soon as I told her, she went out and bought loads of hijabs from the hijab shop in Wilston, and like a few abayas as well. She actually took me shopping as well. She's just been a constant support, really. And now she's pushing me to learn Arabic. I can read it, but I don't understand it, so she's like, you need to go and do a course. And she's a bit worried about me going away and doing a course, but inshallah I will be going away, and I'm sure that she'll help me then as well, won't you, Mum?
Oh yes.
Yes, she's been a great help. Thank you, Mum.
That's all right.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm your mummy.
You're my mum. Yeah, you are.
I knew you'd say that. ASIJA has improved in a way. She's got more respect for me. She prays more. She's more homely. She's a nicer person, I would say. Oh, I wish for ASIJA Vanesa to find a good husband and to settle down. That's what I wish for her, and to be happy in her life.
Oh, I love you, Mum.
I love you too. I want you to get married and to have a good husband.
Get married.
Yeah, she needs a partner. She needs a friend because she's the only child. She's got no brothers and no sisters. And if something happens to me and I'm no longer here, I'd like to know she's got someone to care for her.
Oh, you're so sweet, Mum. You make me cry. My life has improved, I think, in more ways than just the one. When you do look at things outside of yourself, external things, like, I don't feel like I had a great relationship with my parents before. And I think now I realise how important they are, and I'm more in love with my mum than I was before, and my dad as well. And also just having something meaningful in my life to do. And internally, when you become Muslim, you realise Allah sort of gives you, or God gives you, sort of a mirror. He holds up a mirror in front of you, and you kind of look at yourself and think, oh God, you know, am I really, you know, like this? Am I really this type of person? And then you start to change, and you start to try and be more patient and be more good to your neighbours, for example. That's one of the things in Islam, is that you should know your neighbours. Like, you should never go to bed on a full stomach if your neighbours are hungry. So all these types of things kind of make you a better person internally, or strive to be a better person. This is my friend Hafsa. No, this is my love, Hafsa. I love her.
What up, yo?
I met her at Regent's Park Mosque.
Yeah.
And she was crazy, and she's still crazy.
No,
but we're closer in our craziness.
Yeah.
I love her because she reminds me of Allah. You do. She's a great reminder.
Yeah,
she's a great reminder, and she's such a soft heart as well. This is Ramiz Cave on Willesden Lane, and I come here because they host talks. Various different imams and shuyukh come from around the world, really, and they give talks here. They also do courses, like Arabic courses, tafsir courses, and it's a really nice place to meet people and to socialise. Islam is about the community. It's not just about support because they're a new Muslim. It's supporting not only your brother in Islam, but your brother in humanity. Being part of the community of Ramiz Cave, I feel, is a little bit different from being part of the community at the mosque in this day and age, because the mosque very much focuses on the outward and the practices. So you might go there as a new Muslim, not perhaps knowing how to pray, and then you might get caught up or snatched up by someone saying, "Astaghfirullah, sister, you know, why are you doing this?" You know. So it's a bit more hostile, But at Ramiz Cave, it's not just. In fact, it's not even just for us, it's for everyone. And it's like, it is a community because you build like a friendship.
Ramiz Cave is deep, man. It's like, it's funkadelic, it's got soul, it's got energy, it's vibrant because it's led by the youth, it's led by young people who, when they go to the mosque, they can't really express themselves, you know? It's a home for artists, poets, creative people. You're not gonna find that in a mosque. What you're gonna find is like, no offense, like, so dry, man. It's just dry.
Unfortunately,
like, you don't want to go to the mosque as a youth if you really think about it, if you're really honest with yourself. And the fact that Allah, you know, and the people that work at Ramiz Cave facilitate something where young people can come, not only learn their religion on a very deep spiritual level, but at the same time are able to like kind of like breathe and like express themselves. It's like, you don't get that everywhere you go, man. It's like, we're really blessed to have this like in our backyard. Like,
we need mosques. It's not that we're saying you don't need mosques, but it's a different community. I work at Islamic Relief, which is an international NGO, charity, and I'm a marketing appeals officer. So to give you an example, I basically coordinate the campaigns. So I worked quite closely with the creative director, looking at his timetable, making sure that the deliverables were met on time. I got to go to Pakistan as well and actually take some of the notes getting people's stories. And when I came back, I actually contributed to the magazine. So I wrote 2 articles in here. So inshallah, we're going to meet a personal friend, Suhana. She has been with me ever since I converted and attended those circles at Regent's Park Mosque. Okay, this is my friend Suhana. I met her at Regent's Park Mosque. When I first became Muslim, I would go to a circle at Regent's Park, and I think I met a few of the girls there. And had you already known them? Mm-hmm. She had already known them, and after a few months, she got in touch with me again, and basically told me about this. Adopted me
into the family.
Yeah, and told me about this job at Islamic Relief, because I wanted to work for a Muslim charity. And then she sent me an email saying, it was reception at the time, and she sent me an email saying, why don't you apply for this job? And I started, and I came for the interview, and they really loved me, obviously. And yeah, I started here. So she's one of those friends who really care, and she notices when I slip. I think she notices when I slip, and it's hard because.
But that goes both ways. That goes both ways.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've told me to watch my tongue because no one else is going to watch it for me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. We're quite frank with each other. I don't think you can really have. Yeah, we're quite straightforward.
Mm-hmm. I think with reverts, and I think this is the case with actually not just with reverts, with people who are born Muslims that come to Islam, or suddenly see the light at some point. What happens is you go at 100 miles an hour quite often, and you surround yourself with good people, and you've got all this nur about you. And ASIJA, mashallah, surrounded herself with people that have knowledge that I'm still to even find myself in the company of probably once in my lifetime. She wasn't just hanging around with sheikhs and gaining knowledge from them, but she was also friends with their wives who were equally as don't have as much knowledge as them and equally as active. So coming from that to then the likes of us who are just like your average everyday Muslims, plenty of things that we do that are wrong. I think she found that very difficult to adjust it, and I think that's the case of a lot of non-Muslims. Is you look at born Muslims and think, how do you just do things so flippantly? But for us, it's a different thing. You're born with it, so we take it, I guess, slightly less seriously, or that comes in time and with age.
Islam means everything to me. It's a journey home, and it's a step outside of the crazy rat race, and it kind of guards you against the ills of the world if you practice properly. So it's like a safe haven. That's what it is. It's like it's a comfort. It's a comfort. It's not comfortable, but it's a comfort. It's hard, but it's a journey home. That's basically what it is. Yeah, I feel.